Hey guys, Andrethefarmer here, and today we're going to talk about grafting. We're going to graft some mango trees. I'm going to show you guys how I graft, why I graft, and some of the things you want to look out for, some of the things you want to do, some of the things you don't want to do. Okay, so first off, this is a sugarloaf mango tree which produces a really great mango. So I would like to have as much sugarloaf mango growing here as possible. Right next to it I have a Valencia Pride mango tree. We're going to take a branch from this tree and we're going to graft it onto the Valencia Pride mango tree, and that'll just be one more place where I'm growing sugarloaf mangoes. All right, so first thing we're going to do is try to find our scion. Now our scion is basically just the branch that we are going to take from the donor tree and add to the recipient tree. So this is a branch here that I like because it's got a little bit of a bud just about to form in the tip here. So a lot of times you can see those tips are just a little bit swollen or about to bud. That's a great one to use for grafting. And it's also a branch that I would normally prune because just a long single straight branch. So instead of pruning it and just having, pruning it so that I can get more branching here, I'm going to prune it, get more branching, and I'm going to get another branch on a different tree that's going to provide this fruit. So I'm going to snip it right there. I'm going to take all the leaves off. And these leaves just break right off. If you want to cut your leaves off, you can cut them off as well. And now this is what we have. This is our scion. So now we're going to try to find a branch that matches up in diameter with this branch. So I think we looked at this branch over here, and it was right about the same size here. Now the reason that we want those two branches to line up is because we want our layer right under the bark, which is the little green layer, that's the cambium. We need our cambium of this to line up with our cambium of that. The number one reason why grafts fail is because the cambiums don't line up. So here's an example of a couple grafts that we did previously. This here is a harvest moon graft, and this was the scion, and that's the new growth that's coming up. It actually survived the cold. That's pretty cool. There's another one that's a bit of an older graft here, and I believe this is from a seedling actually. This is a kit. This is a kit graft here. So this tree already has a few grafts on it, so we're going to add a couple more. So we're going to try to find the spot where our two branches are about the same diameter, and we're going to snip that branch up. Now we could use this branch to graft onto a different tree if we wanted to. We're going to get our buddy tape. This is a tape that you have to buy online. You can't get it from Amazon. It's a small company, but this is great because you don't have to remove this tape. You're going to wrap this tape around this nice and thin, and your new growth is going to grow right through the tape. The purpose of wrapping the scion is so that we don't lose moisture, because the number two reason why your grafts are going to fail is they dry out. So we want two things to happen. One, we want to make sure that our cambiums line up, and two, we want to make sure that they don't dry out. So we're going to give this another re-snip right about here. Let's match this up and let's see if these two line up properly. And they are about the same diameter. So we're going to get our grafting knife. And we're just going to cut a wedge in our scion. We want to try to do that in as few strokes as possible. We don't want to be whittling away forever on this thing, but that's a pretty good wedge right there. And then we're going to get our recipient branch, and we are going to cut the groove. And you can cut it, vertically or horizontally, it doesn't matter. The whole point is to cut a groove so that you can fit your wedge into it. So now we've made our groove, and we're going to insert our scion. Now, one of the things you want to watch for is you want to make sure that there's not a lot of daylight between here and the sides of this scion. We want to make sure that our cambiums are lined up on both sides. Now, if our branches are not exactly the same size, then you have to pick one side for the cambium to line up. Because if you try to put it in the center and they're not the same size, then neither cambium will line up. On this side, we've got our cambium lined up pretty well right there. Next step, you can take a rubber band or you can take some grafting tape, but you've got to tie this together so that it's nice and snug. So I'm going to use a rubber band here, and all we're going to do is take our rubber band and we're going to wrap that around, and we're going to get a nice tight union. And as long as those cambiums stay in touch, then we have a really great shot at this graft surviving. In the end, we're gonna get our other grafting tape. This is the cheaper grafting tape. You can buy this on Amazon. It's really easy to get. And all we're gonna do is just wrap up our union so that it doesn't lose any moisture. This will help tie it up a little bit. And just make sure any part that's not covered is covered. We're not gonna wrap the whole thing because with this tape, it cannot grow through the tape. We have to remove this tape at some point. And there we go. Now the last thing that we wanna do, we wanna make sure that our graft is not in direct sunlight. So a little trick you can use, you can take a leaf. A lot of times I'll do a branch that's already in the shade, but if it's not in the shade, I'm gonna take a leaf and I'm gonna put it over top like this. And then we're just gonna get some of this grafting tape. We're gonna pull it a little bit tight. And we're just gonna wrap it around here. And that leaf is gonna be our little shade for that graft to prevent the sun from hitting it directly and drying it out. A little bit of sun's not gonna hurt it, but partial shade is ideal for them. So there we go. We've got that wrapped up there. We can even bend the end of the leaf there a little bit, bring it down, and that's gonna help provide some shade. And that's it. So probably in about anywhere from a month to 2-3 months, we're gonna see growth come right out the tip, and then we'll know that our graft was successful, all right? So if you enjoyed that, hit the like button, subscribe, and follow me for more tips, all right? See you guys, bye.